What's up, guys? Well, I hope that you saw the new version of The Lion King, the new live-action version of The Lion King. So, if you have, this is my spoiler review. Now, I mean, I've seen the movie, you've seen the movie. If you've seen the animated film, you know the story of the Lion King. If you've seen the live-action movie, you know the story of the Lion King. Sorry, it was a bug that just flew on the wall. I had to take care of it. Yeah, we all know the story of the Lion King. As I said in my non-spoiler review, this movie is exactly the same, pretty much. There's just a few scenes added and a few scenes that are extended. So what I'm going to talk about in this video are just some of the things that they did in this movie that were different than the animated film that bugged me. And there's just, like I said in my non-spoiler review, there's just moments in this movie that aren't there, that were so great and impactful in the animated film. If we start in the beginning of the film, the Circle of Life moment, great. One of the best sequences of the film. We move into, when we get introduced to Scar, how we sort of see how the movie's going to start to stretch things out a bit, where we see the mouse running around doing his thing before Scar actually gets it. And once Chiwetel Ejiofor starts to talk as Scar, it didn't really work for me. As I said in my non-spoiler review, he's no Jeremy Irons. I mean, he was doing something different with the role, but I just think his voice doesn't fit the character. I just can't see it. I really can't put those two and two together. If we're talking about Aladdin with the actor who played Jafar, sure that his voice is different, but for me personally, I can say, okay, this is this version of Jafar. It's so hard to explain because this is this version of Scar, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. You know, what are you going to do? Also, same goes for Timon. I didn't really like the voice performance for Timon either. Some of the lines felt flat for me. Some of the things that Zazu is doing at the beginning of the film when they're singing I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and how, you know, Zazu has his parts in that song. Instead of singing it with such flair and hip, if you will, how it was sung in the original film, in this it's just, and I've never seen a king or beast with quite so little hair. This child is getting wildly out of wing. You know, it's not like Pump, you know. Everybody look left, he says left. Everybody look right, right. You know, in this movie it's not that bombastic. There's not that pop. Also, things that they changed, be prepared. As I mentioned in my non-spoiler review, they did a half-assed version of the song. It's very quick, and half of it they're just going, be prepared, be prepared, be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. You know, I'm thinking, what? He's just walking around the hyenas looking at them. Be prepared, be prepared. And also the relationship Scar has with the hyenas in this was kind of confusing to me, because in the original, Scar is the guy who he has a relationship with the hyenas. They see him and they say, "Oh, Scar, it's just you," blah, blah, like they have a connection. In this film, you don't really get the sense of that connection. When Scar comes to the hyenas, the lead hyena comes and says, "You know, what can you offer us?" You know, in the animated film, Scar had more of a control over the hyenas. In this film, it's not really like that, and I'm not sure why they made that adjustment. Also, at the end of the Be Prepared song, the music just sort of quietly drifts away and fades away, and the camera just sort of fades to the gorge. In the animated film, the song ends with, like, the music just goes bum 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 bum, and then it goes poof, and it cuts to the gorge. It cuts to black, and then it cuts to the gorge, and it's so impactful. Like, wow, what's going to happen next? In this, it's just a peaceful fade, and I don't know. See, what they did change, it wasn't for the better. They took out these little moments that were in the original that were some of the best moments, and they just made them not as impactful. Also, when we're in the gorge and Simba's doing his roar, and he sees all the wildebeest coming down, the stampede start, and in this movie, he just sort of looks at it quickly and turns around and starts to run. There's no real emotion there. But in the animated film, there's like a lot of percussion, and we get that shot of the camera just zooming into Simba's face as he's just in shock, and you can see fear in his face. And he's like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. You know, in this movie, it's just quick, and he just turns and runs. Also, when Simba and Nala reunite, it happens so quickly. I feel like, you know, Simba, Nala, oh, it's you, where you been, blah, blah, blah. We have that same moment in the animated film, but in that movie, you get more time. Nala gets more time to process that this is Simba. In this movie, it's like the emotion is taken out of it. It just happens so quick. And also, the biggest thing that bugged me in this movie, that I mentioned in my non-spoiler review, that I said it was something they did towards the end of the film, which they did differently, and it did not work for me at all. I'm talking about the scene where, in the animated film, when Timon and Pumbaa are a distraction in their live bait, and Timon has the hula, you know, thing on, and he's doing his little song and dance. You want some juicy meat? Here, my buddy Pumbaa has a treat, or something like that. You know, when he's like singing and they're in their hula outfits. In this, they do it differently. In this, I don't know whose idea this was, but Timon gets on Pumbaa, and he gets the hyena's attention, and he starts to sing "Be Our Guest" from Beauty and the Beast. He sings the first couple verses, or not verses, but the first couple lines from "Be Our Guest." And when the music cue cuts in, I'm thinking, what is happening? And then he starts singing it. And it's not just one line. He goes for it. He sings like the first 30 seconds of "Be Our Guest." And some people might think, ha, that's funny, you know, they're going to be our guests and eat Pumbaa. Ha ha ha. But for me, I was thinking, why is this song in this movie? This is not a Lion King song. This is a Beauty and the Beast song. A film that just came out a few years ago that you did in live action. I understand that this is Disney, and all these movies are created by the same studio. And I'm alright with little references, like in the animated Aladdin, when the genie's, you know, flipping through the book and he pulls Sebastian out, and what you hear briefly is very brief. In this movie, they do it. It's like, why are you referencing Beauty and the Beast here? It just didn't make sense for me. Did not work for me. I'm okay with subtle references, but that was not subtle at all for me. And also, one last thing about Scar and the hyenas. Right before Simba and Scar fight, at the end of the film, there's a shot where they're about to fight, and right at the exact moment when Scar is saying, you know, the hyenas are trashy little animals, or whatever he says, they just randomly jump up on the rock. They hear him say it, and they go back down, you know? I'm thinking that was so convenient. The way it was done in the original worked a lot better. And also, the last thing that I'll mention in this spoiler review that really also bugged me, something that they hadn't, the same in this movie, they moved characters, was at the end of the film, when they're on the rock, when they're on Pride Rock, and Rafiki is about to lift the baby of Nala and Simba. In the animated film, the camera pans, we have Nala, Simba, Timon, Pumbaa. Timon is on Pumbaa and he's doing his little thing with his hands. I love that in the animated movie. In this, they just sideline Timon and Pumbaa completely at the end of this film. They just have them standing on the side somewhere looking up at the rock. Whose decision was that? Why is Timon and Pumbaa not up there? You know, these are the ones that saved Simba. In the animated film, they're up there. They should be there. Why are they not there? I will never understand that. But that's just some things that bug me. Also, Rafiki's character in this, there is no character. They took all the life out of Rafiki. Completely. That scene when Rafiki and Simba, when Rafiki sort of snaps Simba out of, you're the king, look at Mufasa's in the sky and all this. He lives in you. That scene is in this movie and it's fine, but in the animated film, because Rafiki's character has so much more life to him, it's more impactful, I feel. In this film, it's just, like I said, it sort of feels like we're just going through the motions. But overall, the animation is fantastic. You know, if you've seen my non-spoiler review, you know my rating for the movie. I did like it. I don't think it's bad, but if I'm comparing it to the original, which you kind of have to because it's a copy and paste, pretty much, it's just not as good. But yeah, that's my spoilery thoughts on The Lion King. Guys, comment your thoughts in the comment section. Did you see the movie yet? I hope you did, because I just gave away everything that pretty much there is to give away. So, you know, hopefully you did see it. And if you did see it, what are your thoughts about it? You should give your spoiler thoughts. Did you like it? Didn't you like it? But I did like it in the end of the day. It is a good movie. The story is still intact. But like I said, guys, comment your thoughts. Also, you can subscribe to this channel for a whole bunch of videos coming in the future. We have my review for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Hobbs and Shaw. All that's coming on the channel. Also, guys, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links to those are in the description of this video. And you can also follow me on Instagram at KingArises131. Guys, that's been it. Thank you very much for watching my spoiler review for The Lion King. Over and out.